What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. This is season 1, episode 2. Let's get right into the review. So, of course, we start off exactly where we left off because we have Silas going on and on about how, he just wants Jasmine to feel like, she's protected when she's going out and it's dangerous in New York and it's all Jordan's fault. Boy, bye. Jasmine is a grown woman. Jasmine can make decisions on how long she's going to stay out. That has nothing to do with Jordan. Jordan is not in a relationship with you, so I'm going to need for you to chill out. Another thing that I want to point out is the fact that, I understand that we wanted to get a great group of friends together, but I feel like Jasmine is like always putting on airs and making things seem like what it's not. Because, for example, she gave her whole speech about them coming to Martha's Vineyard and how much it means and blah, blah, blah. This was only their second time going to Martha's Vineyard. Then, when she was talking about how, oh my God, me and Jordan, we're best friends. Oh my God, that's my girl. They've only known each other for 4 years. Like, girl, why do you keep acting as if everything is lasting so long when really it's a short period of time? But let's just go ahead and talk about what happened this episode. Okay, so they decide they're going to go ahead and leave the restaurant, go home. Finally. I thought it was really cute that we did see Mariah doing her little affirmations with her son. That was cute. And then we see that everybody decides to go to bed. Cool. This is what I want to talk about. There is a conversation between Silas and Jasmine. And she's like, I just feel like you were coming at her when really your issue is with me. And I'm like, so now you want to say something? I'm sorry, I understand that she wants to have this united front when it's her and her husband against the world, but I'm like, so you would rather this man dog your friend out, tell her how she's doing this, that, and other, she's so wrong, or whatever, when you could have easily chimed in and said, you know what, babe, I know that you think that, like, me and Jordan, we go out, we party, super late. But, I be wanting to be out with my girl. Like, the party doesn't stop till, 5 o'clock in the morning. So, it's cool if we come in at 4. Like, she did not try to throw Jordan a bone at all. I mean, thank God Jordan is the type of person that can handle herself. But I just don't trust Jasmine. I gotta say that. I do not trust Jasmine. Jasmine has a lot of red flags about her. I feel like she rushed into this marriage with Silas because she needed some type of stability in her life. I think that she's a user because even when it comes to her and Mariah, she basically finessed Mariah. She told this girl, oh, come to New York. It's so cool. Come to New York with me. Even though this girl drove up there, didn't have a place to stay. I'm pretty sure she assumed that she would be staying with her friend, Jasmine. But Jasmine didn't have a place to stay her damn self. She was homeless. So now they sleeping in Mariah's car. User. I don't know. There's a lot of things about Jasmine I just do not care for. But you know what? We're going to keep on going with this review. One thing that they could have, not included for us to see was the Coopers going to Pound Town. We didn't need that. Not at all. But unfortunately, they included that in the show. Because honestly, am I the only person who rewound it to make sure that I wasn't tripping? Because at first I thought it was Amir and Jordan. And I'm just like, wait, that's crazy. Let me rewind. Come to find out, it was actually just the Coopers. Or maybe I was the only one who double checked. Nonetheless, it's the next day. Oh, we're waking up. Oh, Jasmine's making breakfast. My first thought is, oh, she's making breakfast for everybody because now we have a house full of people and you're the hostess. I was loud and wrong. She only makes breakfast for her husband. And in that moment, we also learned that this is what she does for him every day because baby girl ain't got no job. She came on this show talking about how she's this screenwriter, all this stuff, but really, she is a housewife. So, I'm just so confused as to who Jasmine really is, because I feel like when we first met this girl, she kind of put herself on like this high pedestal, the girl who goes to Martha Vineyard every year, and we're just doing black excellence, blah 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 blah. Well, really, girl, you are so average. Not even average. Like, you kind of on struggle bus, and this man is like your knight in shining armor because he's saving you. But you know what? Let's keep on going. So, next thing I want to talk about is the fact that Amir is really trying to get Jordan. However, his attempts are not working because he's like, oh, let's go kayaking or whatever. And she's like, well, I don't want to get wet. He's like, y'all, make sure you're good. They get out there on that boat. They go out on that water. She's ready to turn back around. And I'm like, all because you like to do kayaking, maybe that's not something that she wants to do. Ask her what she likes to do. Because that way, you're trying to impress her in the things that she likes. Not you trying to force what you like on her. So then we also see that the boys are playing football. The only guy who was not there was Preston. And I'm kind of annoyed because I feel like, where is Preston? Because even though he's Silas's friend, we don't really see him like with the guys. And I don't like that there's like this weird divide there. But nonetheless, they start talking about how the girl Shanice is going to come. And that is actually one name that I really do love because I deem that as a black name, but it's not like one of those super ghetto, I guess you could say, names. But it's definitely black people. But we don't use those type of names no more when we name our kids. But that's neither here nor there. So they talk about how this girl's athletic and all this stuff. And come to find out, No Lip Nick, he is sliding in her DMs. I'm like, didn't you just tell us that you were sliding in Jordan's DMs as well? So you just think you're going to possibly get both of these girls? Or if one don't give you a shot, the other will? No Lip Nick, this ain't it. And then you have Alex chiming in saying, well, I just don't want them to think that they're the only women on the vineyard. Because, Martha's Vineyard has all the butters, the shea butters and the cocoa butters. And I'm just like, have you ever seen like cocoa butter and shea butter? Because when they're in their natural state or any state, they're not shades of brown. They're like yellow. Like, what are we talking about here? And if it's refined, it's beige, closer to white. So are you trying to say that you were going for the white women or only light skin? Like, what was that? Because I understand that like black people use shea butter and cocoa butter, but your reference was terrible. So the group gets together. They say they're going to go out or whatever. No Lip Nick is like, oh yeah, I'm going to wear some jeans tonight, as if that should be something special. Sir, you're a cornball. Go sit down somewhere. So everybody gets ready because they're going to go bowling that night. First things first, Bria, I know you did not pack that dog up in that backpack because it looked like there were no air holes. What was that? Does anybody in my comments, please, anybody listening to this, do y'all have one of those bags for y'all dogs? How does the bag work? Please, somebody tell me, because I am trying to understand. Now, speaking of Bree, she's telling Jasmine, I want to say Preston was there as well, about her experience living in Germany because that's where her boyfriend is, and how, people with money who are really rich, all they do is go out and go to dinner, but they don't really do any activities or anything. So Jasmine is like, okay, so what would your boyfriend be doing right now if he was like here with us? She was like, oh, he would probably be buying everybody drinks or whatever. And she describes him as a giver. So then in her confessional, you have Jasmine saying like, oh, why are we talking about his money? I have a man. Girl, you asked her a question. She answered, what is your issue with Bria? Like, there is some underlying issue with Bria that you have. Like, are you mad that like she's able to just live her life, do whatever she wants, and you're tied down to a man? Because for some reason there's an underlying issue here. All right, so she does come to them and say, because at this point Silas has joined the group, So Bria does come to them and say, hey, I want my boyfriend to come in for like the last week that we're here. So is that cool with y'all or whatever? And I'm just like, that should be fine, because by the time y'all get to the last week, y'all should be sick of each other. It's fine for her to be booed up, because it's already a couple here that's booed up. So what's the problem? Now, one thing that I will say is that Bria is absolutely right, that Jasmine definitely is holding on to an old image of her when they used to work together, but she's not allowing Bria to elevate, even though she's elevated in her life. And it's crazy to me how she's like, no, I'm not going to respect her relationship because they're not married. And I'm just like, oh, so you're one of those. You're one of those women who, like, once they became a wife, that became their personality. That's all you have going for yourself. So that's why you're trying to down Bria. Yeah, that's really sad, Jasmine. But let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so Mariah tells the group that she's going to have a little event happening with the group, that she's going to have everybody come in later on that night so that way they can have a moon mass. None of them know exactly what that is. They don't practice the same things that she does, but it's a new experience. Let's give it a shot, right? Also, I found it interesting that she didn't mention to them that it was like a hoodoo practice. And I'm like, well, maybe they didn't want to be, practicing hoodoo. I don't know. But nonetheless, they all decide to go home, get ready for this thing that Mariah's having. Now, while everybody's sitting around, you hear Silas say, oh, I want to go check on Jasmine. And No Top Lip Nick is like, why is he always checking on her as if like she really went somewhere, like she's only in the house? And he's telling this to Jordan. So they're having small talk. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure this conversation means so much to him because he actually likes Jordan and thinks that this is his way in. Alright, so Mariah kicks off the moon mass. They ain't feeling it. They're cold. They want to go back in the house. They want to go to sleep. Like, it just didn't work out well. It didn't go anywhere. Yeah, I actually felt bad because she was really trying to, show the group her practices, the things that she likes to do, but it just wasn't going over well. So they all at one point ended up going up in the house or whatever. She was left to like clean up, and I'm like, y'all could have at least helped her clean up. But she absolutely felt some type of way because she felt like they weren't even giving it a try. Alright, so it's the next day. Shanice has arrived. Bria is super excited because she's closer to Shanice more than any of the other girls. Actually, when I think of like the setup of how many people are here for this show and who like is actually friends with who, it's interesting because Silas only has one friend so far, which is Preston, but we hardly see them even have a conversation. Then when it comes to Jasmine, of course, she used to work with, well, she's still friends with Jordan. She used to work with Shanice and Bria in the club or whatever. She's friends with Amir some type of way. And then she's also friends with No Top Lip Nick. No Top Lip Nick is friends with Alex. And then we also meet Phil later, who's a friend of Bria and Shanice. I'm just like, this is the most friend of a friend group I have seen. Nonetheless, Shanice comes in, pretty girl, and Nick is over here talking about she doesn't look like her Instagram pictures. Sir, go away from us with this. Did you want her to be in full glam after she probably had to fly out there? Really? Grow up. And then on top of that, we learned that Shanice, she only gonna be there on the weekends. She has a real job. She cannot be playing around with them at this house. Alright, so when Shanice actually sees Alex, though, she thinks that he's attractive. She thinks he's probably the most attractive guy there. And I can see why she says that, especially considering he's tall. Now, one thing that I want to point out, especially because I already went through the whole rigmarole of who's friends with who, I feel like at some point Mariah is going to feel left out. And here's why I'm saying that. Because Jasmine and Jordan, Bria and Shanice have all worked together. Like, they all worked at the club together, so they probably already have, like, this party girl fun vibe. You know what I'm saying? When they're together. Versus Mariah, I feel like she's so, like, grounded. She's into, like, totally different things than these girls. But we shall see. So, the girls actually have this conversation, minus Mariah, and they're talking about, Jasmine being a wife now, and she feels like there definitely needs to be like a change in the dynamic of her friendships and her marriage, because it's very clear that she's the type of person that could completely change once she became a wife. I feel like some people, they do try to maintain their friendships, try to maintain everything as closely being the same as how it once was. But I feel like Jasmine is the type of person that is going to have her life revolve around her and her husband, and mostly her husband. So, of course, friendships, all of that is going to have to take the back burner. And I found it interesting that one of the girls, I don't even know who it was, they were like, yeah, maybe you guys are spending too much time with each other, to her about her own husband. And I don't think she caught that, but I do think that her friends, they don't really rock with Silas like that. I feel like they may think that she rushed into this, but they're not saying anything. So everybody is getting ready so they can go out yet again. And Mariah says she ain't going out. I think she about sick of these people already. And I think Preston, he wasn't going out either. Like, I can honestly see those two bonding a bit more. But then we also see No Top Lip Nick, and he comes out with this tan blazer, bright lime green shirt, and some orange pants. And I'm like, and your thing is style? Your thing is fashion? Absolutely not. So y'all, here comes the drama. So Mariah, she goes to check on her clothes that were supposed to be in the dryer, right? So come to find out, there's some of Bria's dog stuff as well as her towels mixed in together some type of way. Now, according to Mariah, she says that she told Bria about her towels and how she moved them from the washing machine to the dryer, and now all this stuff is mixed up. And I'm like, well, maybe somebody else who's not admitting that they did it, they just kind of put everybody's stuff together because they wanted to wash. I don't know how all this got put together, but I definitely do think that this whole situation was blown out of proportion, because it sounds like Bria was there first. She put her things in the washing machine, probably forgot about it, went to go do whatever else she wanted to do. You decided that you wanted to wash some things, so that way you moved her stuff to the dryer, and then you started your load. But I don't know who else came up in there, but it sounds like they moved your stuff to the dryer at this point, and they just added it to whatever was in there, which was Bria's stuff, and then they probably started their load of clothes. So now you're coming at Bri about washing the clothes together as if she purposely did that, because it doesn't sound like she did. Or maybe I'm tripping, because I know that Bria mentioned something about like the pool towels as well. I don't know, it's just not making sense for me. I just feel like this became a big thing when it didn't have to. Especially considering it could have just been like, oh my gosh, Bria, your dog stuff was mixed in with the regular towels. Like, you know, we just want to make sure that because we're going to be putting the towels on our body, like, we don't want to like mix it with your dog stuff. No offense to your dog at all. We just don't want, like, if his hair is still on it, we don't want it mixed in. Like, it could have just been said nicer. And then on Bria's end, I feel like she was being super defensive, because just yesterday you had Jasmine going off about how her dog is shedding and there's dog hair everywhere and you're not cleaning up your dog. Like, it was a lot. So I feel like she's going to be super defensive about her dog. So then Jasmine gets involved or whatever, because she wants to know what's going on or whatever. And then when she talks to Mariah, she's like, you know, both of y'all are pushing each other's buttons. And they were. They definitely were. Especially once it got all blown out of proportion, yet calling each other. I mean, well, Mariah called her out her name. And it was just a lot going on for something that was so small. Like, when you think of the grand scheme of arguments that we have seen in reality TV, this is not what people argue for. So everybody leaves. Shanice, who we thought was super close to Bria, like I said, we thought, she ended up hopping in the car with the boys, and that was gonna be that. Like, she didn't even check on her friend. So the girls end up leaving, and then we have Preston and Mariah. they're talking. And, Preston's just like, how are you, or whatever. And Mariah actually breaks down. She starts crying. And I'm just like, that's because I feel like she's starting to feel that divide. And how Jasmine, even though they're supposed to be best friends, Jasmine is about to be clicked up with her Playboy homegirls. And on top of that, I also feel like the problems that Mariah is having is that she feels kind of left out because she just tried to do something with the group. They weren't feeling it. She doesn't really know anybody in this group because she's solely Jasmine's friend. Like, I think she's just feeling left alone right now. So as the group is out, I realize that Jordan is probably the smartest person there. Here's why. Because Bria is feeling some type of way that Shanice ended up leaving her. And so when she's about to sit down or whatever, she sits there for like a few minutes and she's like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to sit here. Bria leaves. Amir goes to check on her. Shanice is completely oblivious. I'm like, what's going on? So Jordan has to explain to her, like, you're her friend. She felt like you should have like stood with her. You know what I'm saying? You should have probably checked on her. Actually, you should probably go check on her now. The fact that somebody else had to tell you that, Shanice, girl, your brain ain't working, is it? So nonetheless, they talk it out, have a drink with a stranger. All right, cool. Now, as this is happening, this man Phil shows up, and he is Bria and Shanice's friend. So he gets to the house. At some point, he FaceTimed Bria and told her to save him a room. The problem is that she did not do that. So now this man is marching through the house feeling entitled that he needs a room. And he ends up going over to Mariah's, where she was, because I think she's not actually in the house. She's like in like the guest house or whatever. And there's an upstairs room. And I'm just like, okay, well, fine. There's a space there that he can, stay up there. And he's like, no, but I specifically told Bria I had this certain room and she was supposed to put my name on it. It's somebody else's stuff up in here. And they're like, oh, that's No Top Lip Nick's room. And he's like, no, this is my room. Y'all, before they go out, why does this man decide that he is going to take a number 2 in that man's bathroom and not flush it? I'm like, what am I watching at this point? Like, maybe it's never that serious, especially considering there's another room that's available. So now we flash back to the group who are already out. They moved from the restaurant to the club bar thing that they went to. And I don't know if it was the night that they went or what, but the night seemed pretty whack. Also, it makes me wonder, because I know that we're like hyping up Martha's Vineyard right now. I've never been there, so maybe someone in the comments can let me know. Is it now like maybe an older crowd of black people that are going there? Or is it that like this may have been popping like 15 years ago, but it's not anymore? Not as far as like not Martha's Vineyard in a whole, but I'm talking about maybe like their nightlife isn't as popping. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why they went out to that bar that night, because it was not popping at all. So we then see that Preston, Mariah, and Phil, they're going to meet the others at the club, right? Or bar, wherever they are. And again, I already told y'all what Phil did. But then it started to make me think. I'm like, so you just did that and then just went to the club? Did you even wipe well? Because the Uber was outside, so I know you had to rush to get to the Uber. You know what? Just nasty. Nonetheless, they get there. He does tell No Top Lip Nick that, he pooped in his toilet and he didn't flush it. At least he was honest about it, I guess. So now that Bria sees that Mariah is there, she feels some type of way. Because she feels like Mariah violated her. She was in her space. She put her hands on her. And that's not cool. And then for Jasmine to come by and be like, all I care about is black excellence. That's all that matters to me. Like, didn't nobody ask you to even come over here? Please go sit down somewhere. And Bria feels some type of way. Especially considering Mariah is supposed to be Jasmine's best friend. Like, we literally got to the point where Jordan, again, has to be the voice of reason here and explain to Jasmine that, you know, hey, you may have to have a conversation with Mariah that she can't put her hands on people. And, you know, the way the whole situation was handled, it was very disrespectful. One thing about Bria, though, I realize she is very, very, very sensitive. And I understand why she brought Milo. I understand why she has an emotional support animal. It makes all the sense here. Alright, so everyone is finally decided to go home. And we got to deal with this whole Nick and, what's his name? Phil situation. Nick goes into his bathroom, of course. There's something floating in his toilet. So now he's upset. I'm like, well, he did tell you this, so you should have probably, when y'all hit the door, you should have been like, so Phil, you not gonna go flush that? Because remember, that's what you told me that you did. So he confronts Phil, though, about it. And everybody's like, dude, like, you took things too far, you know, by doing the whole pooping in somebody's toilet, like, grow up. And then Phil is, like, really trying to be dominant in this situation. Like, I get you're taller than every guy here, but you did not have to come in with all this energy. So now you have Amir getting involved, and I was like, wow, he is really short compared to Phil. It was definitely like a Chihuahua going at, like, a Great Dane. Like, when you talk about sizes here. But Amir was basically telling, oh boy, like, listen, we've already established, you know, some things while we're here. You're just now coming in. So you need to chill out with all of that. And that was where the episode ended. Now, for me, I just feel like Phil went completely overboard when he could have just moved into the room that is wherever Mariah is, the upstairs room. Like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like this group, when it comes to their arguments, they are so dumb. Like, we're over here arguing about dog clothes and towels. We're arguing about, you know, rooms that were claimed or not claimed. Like, I'm trying to really get into this show because it's not that it's bad, but I just need for them to step it up in certain areas. But let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.